I think you go about reclaiming passion by, first of all, being very honest about how much of it you've lost, which means the willingness to feel your own pain. I've written about the fact that in my own journey, I have suffered through 2 very serious bouts of clinical depression, which is the ultimate in the loss of passion. It's a state of absolute deadness in which you're not capable of feeling anything at all. And we have in our society so many strategies for holding that at bay, denying that it's going on, or simply letting your life degenerate into a kind of frozen, cynical state, or perhaps medicating yourself. Some depressions do indeed need medication, but I'm talking about a kind of depression where medication is not the answer. Taking an inner journey is. So I have some personal experience at the difficulty of, first of all, naming your pain, of facing the awkward fact, the fact that often makes you feel like a failure, that I am very nearly paralyzed by my own despair. But the acknowledgement of that turns out to be an enormously liberating step. As you start to acknowledge your own pain and your own darkness and move into it rather than trying to get around it or go over it, it turns out that in that pain and despair are lots and lots of clues about what your soul is trying to call forth in you. So step 1, I think, in reclaiming passion is just to acknowledge that I don't have it anymore. That, I think, can set up a yearning for a memory that you have of when life was rich and full, and can start you on a long process that's very hard to describe. And there certainly aren't any gimmicks or tricks about it. It's mainly slogging in part back through your memory to recall first and then reclaim the reasons why you wanted to be a teacher or wanted to be a real person or wanted to feel alive and well on the face of the earth in the first place. And I think I wouldn't know how to do that by myself. And there is a solitary dimension to it that no human being can avoid. But somehow we have to find forms of community that help people hold that solitude, that honor and respect that solitude. The poet Rilke once said, "Love is this, that 2 solitudes border, protect, and salute one another." And for me, that's always been a wonderful image of what real community looks like. Community is not a place where it's demanded that I be up and on and cheery and contributing to the common good at every moment on every day. Community is a place where I can be held in whatever condition I am, and by being held, I am given the space and the grace to find those inner resources that can bring me back to life. And I think in the teacher formation program, we're trying to create that kind of community. I think it's a rare form of community in American life. Not a community that tells you what you ought to do or what you ought to be, and not a community in which you can just say anything you want but nobody's listening, but rather a community of engagement where you are accepted as you are, a community of unconditional love. I think that's what we need to reclaim our passion.